Hello, I'm Forrest Shaw, and I've got a problem. How's everybody doing out there? Thank you for being here again, and listening, and subscribing, and rating, and commenting. Appreciate that very much. Thank you to everybody that's donated. Donate button is on forrestshaw.net. That's my website. Go to the podcast section, button right there. Send some money. It will be spent wisely. And if this is your first time, thank you for being here. Welcome. Do all the things I just said. Subscribe, rate, comment. And this is a great episode. Got my buddy Dave Yates, not David, Dave Yates on today. And I'm excited to be talking to him. That's about it, really. I think I've said all this stuff. Oh, new background. What do we got here? This is just a lone football player in a field. I think it's kind of funny. I don't know what he's doing there. Maybe he's returning a punt or he's about to punt. Who knows? But it's NFL draft week, so I figured I'd switch it up, put a little football player there. My buddy's son is getting drafted in the NFL. Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. Pretty exciting. Not pretty exciting, really exciting, amazing. They put in a lot of work and effort to get there, and I'm excited for him in his new career and for him to make some money. And now it's time for the segment that some of you have been waiting for. I've got another problem.
I've got another problem.
Traffic. What's up with that? Seriously, fuck traffic. Why are you in my way? Why are you in my way? I need to be somewhere. Why are you in front of me? You shouldn't be there. I am the center of the universe. Life revolves around me. I don't think we're going to solve this problem, but I live here in LA, and there's a thing called Coachella that happens about 2 hours east of LA every year, and it's about 10 days long. And it is pretty awesome when it's going on because there's a lot less traffic, noticeably less traffic in this hellscape. No, I love LA. Like, the traffic does suck, as advertised. And there's certain times when it's not there. And you're like, oh, why couldn't it be like this? It's a little bit better. And now we're back. So fuck traffic. Wasn't a very good one this week, but it's just on my mind. That is my problem. All right, everybody. Let's get this episode going, and let's meet my guest, Dave Yates. All right. I'm here today with my guest, comedian David Yates, or just David Yates. You're a person without being a comedian.
Or Dave Yates, you know.
Dave, do you prefer Dave? I think I call you David.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did a podcast yesterday where my buddy just called me David the whole time. And I just haven't known him long enough to just like straight up correct him. But I've known you long enough to be like, just call me Dave. God damn it, Forrest.
Yeah, but I think, like, let me see. I was just going to promote all your stuff. So, okay, your Instagram is Yates Comedy, so no Dave there. Your YouTube is at Dave Yates Comedy. So, yeah, confirmed. I'm sure you're going to be right here. It's your name. So,
Yeah.
and then his website is hahahotsauce.com. There's a curve.
I mean, look, people have yelled hot sauce into my face because they can't remember my name. So it's like, it's whatever.
Dave makes his own hot sauce from scratch with, I believe it's a Carolina Reaper pepper, right?
I do. Yeah.
It's very tasty. And I'm sure people are wondering why you make hot sauce if you're a comedian, but I'm sure you can tell them. I can tell them why. You know?
Sure, because comedy pay hasn't changed in 30 years, and I like paying my bills. So
Yeah.
I sell an epic merch called Ha Ha Hot Sauce that I've been making by hand for 11 years. And it literally was the difference between me being able to pay my way on the road for the last 6 years and be only a stand-up comic income wise and
Yeah.
struggling.
I love when comics that have gotten some level of success, whether they used to sell merch or not, will be like, nah, I don't know, he's selling merch. blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, you're doing theaters now, buddy. It's like
Yes, dude,
let us do what we need to do.
eat my entire asshole. Like there's a few comics that I will never work with
Yeah.
because they told me I couldn't sell merch.
But before you eat his asshole, put some ha ha hot sauce on it. He'll
Right,
taste much better. Yeah. So
right. Especially, well, I mean, look, like it'd just be doubling down because I already eat it. So it's
all right, we gotta get off this topic. All right.
you fucking you
I did.
drove it there.
Yeah, you said the asshole part to be fair, but anyways, go visit his website is haha hot sauce, and you can see all the information about him as far as comic, his socials. You want to buy some hot sauce, there, and then check him out on Instagram and at Yates Comedy, and go to YouTube and subscribe and watch his videos. And Dave's a good guy. Support him. So here we are. I've got a problem. This is my podcast. First question I ask all my guests is, "What's your problem?"
I'm my fucking problem. That's it
Yeah,
took me a long time to get to that place where it's I've got a problem and the problem is Dave.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, I mean
It's
that's
so little to do with anybody else.
me too. Yeah, I mean that's the that's the root of it. Usually is like you want to find someone else to blame for, but then you're like, oh, okay, yeah,
Right. And if you're lucky enough, and I truly mean this, if you're lucky enough, you'll lose enough and when you go to point your finger, there's nobody there.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's usually that's a gift. Trust me. I say that in jest, but like it's like the gift of desperation that people talk about in 12-step rooms. You know.
yeah. But I also I know I'm talking about addiction on this podcast, but it goes for everything in life, really. I mean, there are some times where someone else can be part of your problem. And I've had those. I've had things in my
Sure.
life where someone else is part of my problem, but
Yeah.
most of the at least the part of seeking happiness, or or like what do you call it? Solitude. What the fuck is the word I'm looking for?
Serenity.
Serenity. Thank you. I was like, solitude is not what I'm talking about.
I mean, well, that is also a thing you can seek.
I like solitude too. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan, but
Yeah.
yeah, is the root of it is always you. So
Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, across the board, even when other people are quote unquote your problem, ultimately it's like what's in your hula hoop of control. And I think every human's got a hula hoop invisible around them, and you have to differentiate what's inside that I can control and what's outside that, which is mostly everything else. So the root of the problem is within my hula hoop of control.
yeah. I want to talk about something real quick before, because I just for whatever reason my feed, my algorithms have changed in the last 2 months doing this podcast now, as I get all sorts of different things. I get a lot of stuff on TikTok of people just playing slots now, which is a thing I guess you can do. You can become an influencer by playing slots.
Like
And
actual slots in Vegas.
oh yeah, dude, they just set up a camera. Wait, by the way, it's also card games. It used to be if you would take your phone out at a
Yeah, they'd fucking
casino,
yell at you.
yeah, they'll kick you out on. And now it's
Yeah.
like people have literal phones set up on tripods over blackjack tables, baccarat tables, or slots machines. And there's people that are famous, like quote unquote influencers now. Like I've seen them on here. There's
I gotta ask, when you
yeah,
were out there fucking placing bets, do
yeah.
you feel like you would have been a good
Of
gambling
course,
influencer?
of course, I'm a comedian. I was
Like these
like,
dipshits aren't funny.
there was times when I would be at a table playing blackjack, baccarat, whatever, and I'm killing at like cracking up the whole table. I'm losing tons of money. I could be winning too. I mean, obviously there's wins and losses, but I'll tell you what, if you were sitting at my table, you had fun. Like I'd always thinking I'm joking with the dealer and this and that, because it was part of the only thing in my brain where I'd be like, well, okay, whether I was winning or losing, like let's just make this fun. I mean, that's part of any of these addictions where there's this social element to it too.
Yo,
Where
I
you're
was a
like,
fun drunk
yeah,
until I
yeah,
wasn't. Like
yeah.
it's like if you were around me, we were having a good time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I saved it to the car. I was like, look, these people know me as a fun person, so I'm gonna wait till I get to the car and just bang on my steering wheel for 20 minutes. Like,
Yeah,
fuck, fuck,
exactly.
fuck.
I got to keep it
But,
together.
yeah, but yeah, no, I look at it. There is part of me that looks at it, I'm like, so I could have been maybe breaking even if I was an influencer.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So,
And then it changes the idea of being ahead or behind, because it's like
yeah,
if you are a gambling influencer and you know how much money you have coming in, you're like, does it actually even out to to like a break even?
I will
Or do
say
you
this
think you would
though.
have pushed it farther because you knew you had more money coming in?
Yeah, I will say this though. There's three, four of them that I've kind of like studied now, like that I've followed and looked at, and there's one guy that I do appreciate because there's some of them just put up just wins. I'm winning. I'm always
Yep.
winning. I'm like,
Yep.
all right, can we have some reality? There's one guy that puts up everything, and you're like, all right, he's winning, losing. And there's another guy that his personality is closer to mine. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but he starts off just like, okay, gonna lose some more money here. It's almost like that, and occasionally he wins. But I do appreciate his mode because he's like, yeah, you're gonna lose a lot at this, which I appreciate that at least. Versus ones that are like, I won again. I just won again and keep winning, and you're like, fuck, man.
I think you figured out who your next guest should be.
Yeah, but I don't know if he wants to talk about addiction. you know, but I'd be happy to have him on. That's a good point. I should write to a couple of these guys, and one of them is a woman. There's a woman on there too. So yeah, and you couldn't do that with other addictions. You couldn't, I mean, I think I've talked about it on the podcast already. There was like a drink, just a guy in a dive bar at the end of it. And it's just
Yeah, like, but there's a guy that I follow I think is very funny, and I think his handle is like I don't give a fuck foods, and he's a clean and sober guy, and he wears a Grateful Dead hat, and he sits like in a parking lot of like a 7-Eleven, and he's like, I don't give a fuck if this 7-Eleven hot dog has fucking benzocarbonates and high sodium. I used to crawl around on my grandmother's bathroom floor looking for a crack rock I misplaced. And then he takes a big bite and he looks into the camera and he goes, "Don't be a pussy. Delicious."
I just clicked on my thing because I was coughing. Is that his thing? He's always like, I don't give a fuck. He starts off
Yeah.
every.
He
Yeah,
literally, it's I
I
don't give
find
a
that hook.
fuck,
Yeah.
talks about his addiction, takes a big bite of whatever food it is, and then he goes, "Delicious. Don't be a pussy."
Yeah, great hook. You got to find that hook. That's the thing. Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, here I am working on these well-crafted jokes, and it's like I literally just need to fucking slam food in my face in the 7-Eleven parking lot.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's already been done, so you got to think of something else.
Yep.
Um, so, anyways, in part of my algorithm, as I was talking about, I've been getting a lot of these, like just serious pieces on drugs to help you with addictions. And
Sure.
Ozempic has been a big one that they have been finding, not just gambling, I think all
Really,
addiction.
gambling too.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's because, which by the way, Ozempic, if you don't, I don't know how you wouldn't have heard of Ozempic by now, but it's a drug that I think honestly
Weight
originally
loss,
was
right?
for, what was it?
I thought it was for weight loss.
No, but before weight loss, I think it was for cholesterol. I'm gonna have to look this up right now before I.
I mean, maybe. I mean, what one of our mutual friends was a spokesperson for Ozempic for a while.
Originally for diabetes. Ozempic was
Okay.
originally developed and approved by the FDA for the treatment of type 2 diabetes. It works by mimicking a natural hormone that helps regulate blood sugar and insulin. And then I guess they discovered they weren't eating on it. And
Yeah.
I think it makes you just do nothing. Like this, apparently it's like you don't want to eat, you don't want to gamble, you don't want to drink, you don't want to do
Yeah,
like
I guess it probably affects part of the brain that act like that is seeking like the pleasure center activation. So it's basically the fucking Viagra for addicts. Because
yeah.
Viagra was supposed to be heart medication, and then all these old fucks were getting boners, and they're like, wait a minute, this is going to make us way more money.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And well, it says here, yeah, you're right. Due to its impact on the brain's reward and pleasure centers, well, not a definitive treatment for gambling addiction and other addictions, it has been reported to reduce cravings and decrease the urge.
Yep.
So, and I am famously over. I wouldn't say famously. I'm not even famous, but I'm overweight, and I do a lot of jokes about it. And so I've had friends and people that have told me they're like, "Why aren't you doing Ozempic? You can lose weight and
Right.
stop gambling." It's just
Yeah,
like
but
and
it isn't is I mean, isn't the side effects like, I mean, every drug has more side effects than good, but is it
yeah,
like I thought Ozempic was fucking killing people, but I could be wrong. Don't sue me.
I I don't know. I don't know if they've studied it. Like I don't know if they know all the side of. I mean, I'm looking at the it's got all the hits: vomiting, constipation, diarrhea,
The hits, the
um,
classics.
yeah, fatigue, dizziness, burping, pancreatitis. Oh, that's a good one. Gastroparesis, um, upper belly pain. I mean, it's a shot into your
Right.
stomach, first of all, which is already
Hell yeah.
yeah, doesn't seem fun.
Yeah, it's like I
Um,
can't stop fucking gambling or drinking, so I'm gonna stick a needle in my stomach. That seems better than just not doing
well,
it.
don't forget eating. That's the other one too. But
Oh yes, yes,
yeah,
yes. Yeah,
um,
well, that the eating makes sense. Be like, yeah, I'll teach you, stomach. Frick.
yeah. So I don't know. I am not a big drug guy. I've never been I like prescription drugs.
Okay.
Um, I just never. It's not something I really enjoy. I don't know for whatever reason. It is kind of like the influencer you were saying. I've done all sorts of terrible shit to my body, but I'm like I'm not going to put like
Yeah,
prescription
right.
drugs in
It's
there.
like, oh, I'm not going to take the vaccine. It's like we used to snort lines of coke in
Yeah,
shapes of cities we've never been to. Like it's
yeah,
like you fucking like I literally, it was a few years ago, a guy I went to college with, literal name is Kane. We called him Cocaine. And all this dude was up to was he was a general manager in export fitness in Chicago, and he would just blow lines and drink protein. Like this dude was like shredded, and it was like one of the first times I did coke was like for 3 days straight, because obviously, like he's just like, yeah, I went from never doing cocaine to hanging out in an apartment with my buddy Kane and doing coke for 3 days straight. And on the third day, he's looking out the window like all paranoid and shit. He goes, "Yo, that car hasn't moved." And I looked outside. I was like, dude, that's a Geo Metro. There's nobody casing your apartment in a fucking Geo Metro. So
yeah. It hasn't moved because it's a Geo Metro, and it's
yeah,
probably
it's
not
fucking, it
running
hasn't moved
anymore.
since
Yeah.
'97.
Did he snort the protein too?
I bet. Like
Yeah,
I bet. Like
straight
or it
to
was
the
like,
blood.
yeah, right, yeah, it was like snort the coke, boof the protein. That
I
so you're
you know
not a
I
drug guy, so you're not a prescription drug guy. What do you where do you think that's rooted in?
but I'm pro vaccine. I'm pro like I like I have all the vaccines. I've just got the shingles. There's a two-parter. I did that. I do flu every year. I've done forever.
But no
I'll do the COVID
prescriptions.
every year. I just got a pneumonia. I got three in one day before I did a road trip recently, or not recently. It was last year. But I had three in one day on my left arm. I couldn't drive with that arm for a day, because it
Hell
gets
yeah.
that day where you're just like, oh, that was a lot for that arm. So yeah, I just, as you said, the vaccine thing, I was like, oh, maybe I should just do Ozempic. Like I'm very, very contradictive here. Yeah.
Right. I mean, look, dude, but it's the our reasoning is
Yeah.
top level of shenanigans. Like, I can convince myself of anything if I let my mind go with it. Like, I've been practicing a lot of different mantras and, you know, acts of staying very vehemently present in the moment. And one of my favorite Zen quotes, heard by way of Alan Watts, is, "The thinking mind is a great servant, but a terrible master." And this is a perfect example of that. The thinking mind, great servant, right? We're both smart. We both do comedy. Like, the same brain that allows us to be quick on our feet on stage is the same brain that'll go, "Oh, this one injection is completely okay, but this other one is fucking not." It's like, there's no, for the addict and the alcoholic, we have a hard time of finding the gray area in things. We're either all in on some shit or we're all the fuck out.
Yeah. And well, I think part of the Ozempic thing for me, because this has been suggested to me before, and I think part of any drug with regard, because there's another one, by the way, that before, and this one was only for drinking, and it was called
Naltrexone.
Naltrexone. Thank you.
Yep.
And that one, I was reading it. The alcohol doesn't bind to the receptors. Same kind of
Yeah.
thing, where it doesn't make
It's
it
what
fun.
it's
Like what I pour.
naltrexone. If I'm not mistaken, is an opiate blocker.
Okay.
It's it's used in emergency situations that can reverse an overdose. And so, working in the rehab industry, like people will take those types of drugs to reduce cravings in their first, 30 to 90 days of recovery.
Yeah. Well, the one, it was a PBS something, which RIP. Uh, see if we still have it soon. But
Yeah.
it was, and
Big ups,
these
big ups to public broadcasting that's
NPR,
literally
PBS,
given information to humans for centuries. Peace
we'll
out.
miss you. Um, the they it was two patients that were taking this medication, and they stopped drinking, like they were everyday drinkers. This one
Right.
guy said he would drink 40 drinks a day at some point. I was like,
Yeah.
40? I was like,
Yeah.
wow. I was like, that didn't seem like you have the time. It's like Wilt Chamberlain's 20,000 women he slept with. They're doing the math, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, when did you sleep? I mean, I believe the 40 drinks a day. Like, if you just mathematically speaking, take how many ounces is in a gallon,
Hmm.
and a shot is an ounce. So, like, however many ounces is in a gallon, count that as a drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know people that drink a gallon of whiskey a day.
Oh, it was just shocking to me. I'm sure. I mean, there's, he said that was his peak. He said usually it was around
You
28.
fellas with the process addictions can't. I love it. It's like I can't conceive of 40 drinks a day, but I can conceive of losing 40 grand at the baccarat table.
Oh yeah, that's 2 minutes. Uh, it's quick. It's just um, and so he takes this drug, and doesn't drink anymore, and so I can my continuing theme, no matter what I've talked about on here, addiction wise, is I if it's working for somebody, then that's good, I think.
Yeah.
And I just, for me personally, I'm worried that you do this Ozempic thing for everything. This isn't even just the gambling part. Is you stop taking it, and then now I'm going to start eating? Like, am I going to, have I just been using this as a crutch instead of, like we talked about right at the beginning, looking emotionally at what's going on with me and where the root of these problems exist and stuff, and not tackling those, or maybe
Yeah.
I do both. So
I uh I I only know as much as someone who's been sober. It'll be, in 3 days it'll be 13 years.
nice.
Um
That's when the
and
podcast. I don't know. It's the day after the podcast comes up, but yeah, nice.
No, well, by the time you're hearing this, I will have achieved 13 years. And for those 12 steppers listening, and they go, "We don't front time, shut the fuck up." But like, I honestly think it's a takes what it takes scenario. I tell people I don't get bonus chips for recruitment. I do 12 step. But like, if you meditate or do ayahuasca and that keeps you from slamming heroin in your arm, great. If you take Ozempic and it stops you from gambling or drinking and, helps you lose a few pounds, yeah. I mean, I think as an extremist, and I think most of us in society are instant gratification and extremists, regardless of addiction. If as long as you can approach whatever you're doing with a sense of like balance and a middle way, like I'm doing Ozempic, but I'm also doing this, that, and the other thing,
Yeah,
or I'm doing naltrexone, but I'm also an intensive outpatient. I don't think it's any one thing that'll click. And over time I've learned about me that I don't like doing shit that don't feel genuine to me. So if I'm in the middle of taking Ozempic or doing some type of meditation or whatever, and it doesn't feel genuine to me. My gut tells me it's not genuine, and then I have to make a decision. Do I force myself to suffer through this thing that I don't think is genuine, or do I pivot? Do I
Hmm.
put it on the shelf and do something else? I
Yeah.
think, it goes back to that thing. It's like like I've learned to shake hands with my broken ass brain. But like the more I connect with like my gut instinct on shit, there's more of a balance that tells me like when to stay, when to go, when to ask, when to wait, when to, and it's just a practice, and it's a muscle of just trusting that you have everything in you to to do whatever it is you want to do, whether it's lose weight, stop drinking, like you are capable. And sometimes it takes help from other people. And I think that's this podcast. That could be the rooms, a church basement, therapist, whatever. It's just like you work on that muscle every day, and sometimes you need a spotter. And that spotter could be this podcast, could be 12 steps, So I just have to make sense of some of these more complex issues with imagery. So
Yeah.
there's the tangent.
I like that. Well, congratulations tomorrow.
Yeah.
13 years, man. It's great.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't think I don't remember the year I met you, but you weren't drinking when I met you.
I don't think so. I mean, we've known each other definitely for a minimum of 10 years.
Yeah, because we met in back in wait, where did we meet? In
Central
Illinois.
Illinois.
Illinois,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
And I think it would have been probably 10 years ago, probably something like that.
Yeah, at least I've been doing stand up for 14 years. So it's like I was doing stand up for about a year and change before I got sober. And like a lot of the Florida cats would come through, like Al Jackson, Dave Williamson, you. And
Yeah.
so like I got to know a lot of you guys because for whatever reason there was a vein of Florida comics headlining the club that was my home club.
Well, because I think Al did it first.
Yep.
And he said, "Oh, this is a fun club." And God, I don't, my brain is just gone. I can't remember names anymore. The guy that used to run it,
Oh, well,
originally,
it was Adam first.
Adam. Yeah, Adam.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the next guy. I'm talking
No, no,
about
no, no, no. Yeah.
and
Adam
Al was like,
Weber.
"This."
Adam Weber was his name.
Yeah, Adam Weber, and I was like, "This is a fun club." The guy Adam Weber who runs it, books it's a good dude, and
Yep.
yeah, and so I'll try and find it to put up on the podcast somewhere. I can ask Al for it. Whoever was making those paintings,
Yeah.
by the way, there was one of Al Jackson that I think was given to him as a gift. That is, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of the
Yeah.
Pablo Picasso can save this with cubism or abstractism,
Yeah.
whatever it was. I don't know if that was a local artist, but
Oh, probably. I can't remember who. It's so funny. I do know exactly who the artist is.
yeah.
It
Well,
just took me a beat to access that fucking forgotten corner of my brain. He
yeah,
was like a local artist and a writer, and he dabbled in stand up. So I mean, he was doing all this art for free.
yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. Shout out. Keep following your dreams. That the
Yep.
um won't be it couldn't be any worse than the mural that used to be up at the Improv, Hollywood Improv.
No,
So
that's exactly where my head went. Is that the if those of you that are listening don't know, the Improv had this mural made by this artist named Waylon, and he was famous for doing aquatic life, dolphins and sea shit. And they hired him to do all the comedians that performed at the Improv, and they all did not look like the comedians that they were supposed to look like. And then there was a dolphin in the middle with a microphone and sunglasses, and it was the only thing that looked like it was supposed to look.
yeah, his name's Wyland, actually, just to correct. His name's Rod Wyland, and yeah, and well, I only know this because I used to be a marine biologist, and yeah, I grew up in Florida. And if you grew up in Florida and you're in anybody's house in Florida, you're going to have a couple different artists in there. And Wyland would be
Yes.
in the house, and like people would have his art in there. And man, if you want a whale or a dolphin
Yeah,
or a sea
that's the
turtle,
dude.
this guy is your dude. If you want comedians, and by the way, you can Google this Wyland Hollywood Improv mural. just take a gander there and see. These are all famous comedians. I just want to like well-known comedians. See who
Yeah.
you can pick out.
And
And
it was so bad that like the improv even had a number system that you could look at and be like, who is number 12? Oh, that's supposed to be Adam Sandler.
yeah, yeah. Somebody looked like SpongeBob. They had some
Oh
heavy
yeah.
set guy. It might have been either Fluffy or Ralphie May, like somebody that they just put a square body.
Honestly, I think it was Ralphie.
Yeah, yeah. Man, it's a have a look at that. But I got off track there. But yeah, the drug thing is interesting. I don't know. That's why I like having this podcast, because as we've been talking about, I'm like, you know what, maybe I should do that, because it's like it is part of this ego thing too, where I'm like, you know what, I can lose weight. I've lost weight before. I've lost weight not too long ago. Like I've done it many times. I know how to do that. I can do that. You don't need to tell me that I can have this thing help me. I've stopped, I've not gambling, and if let's say I gamble again and I have the urge, but I can stop again if I wanted to. So
Sure.
it's part of that ego where I'm like saying I can do all this stuff. But maybe it is something that maybe it is like that boost you're saying, or not
I
boost.
mean, look at it
The
this way. Like I have ADD, okay? And it's actual ADD. I'm not like your fucking hot mess of a friend that says she's ADD when she really just is a fucking dumpster fire. Like, and so like I didn't start treating my mental health with medication till I think year 9 or 10 in my recovery, because I had hit a wall mentally. And I was talking to some people. It's what if it's just what you need to get over that hump, is what was
mm,
told to me. And it's like it doesn't have to be a forever thing. It's just, but at the time, I couldn't get over the hump of my trauma and depression at year 10 without medical assistance. And I'm glad I took a chance on it, and I was never against medication. I was always an advocate for other people. But like where it stemmed from is like, when I was in second grade, like I got slapped on Ritalin in the 90s. And so it was basically speed with no real checks and balances. So it's like it would be at the breakfast table next to my bowl of fucking cereal. I'd take Ritalin and go to school, and then I'd come home and it was over medicated and I couldn't fucking sleep. So it's like I had insomnia as a child for years, which I'm not saying that's why I became an alcoholic or an addict, but as soon as I found smoking weed and drinking and I could fucking sleep for the first time, I was like, oh, hell yeah. So fast forward, having to get over that fear or that voice in my head that says, oh, medication's great for other people, but not for me. It's just, I got desperate. I got desperate because it was like the way I was doing shit wasn't working, and I had to just let go. Like that whole, you've heard that colloquialism, like your ego is not your amigo.
yeah,
Um, and it's like, I think it's more about the ego being right sized rather than the ego not being good for you. And so if I think I know everything, that's when I gotta take a pause and be like, all right, where's the fear behind me making a decision to take medication, not take medication? And the big thing for me is just discussing it with other people so it doesn't just live in my brain.
yeah, yeah. I'm about to get a CPAP machine, and I should have done that.
Yeah,
I'm at this point in my life where I'm older. I've gone through fluctuations of being in shape, not being in shape, and like various levels of that. And now I'm just like, "Ah, man, I, I I need to make a lot of changes that I've been avoiding. Um,
sure.
and one of the things was I've been sleeping shitty I've been sleeping shitty for a while because
Yeah.
you're not eating well, you're overweight, you
Yep.
comic eat late at night, whatever it is, right?
Oh yeah, eating late at night's the worst.
Yeah, and I did it last night. I just did it last night. I did a set at the Improv, and then I had Thai food. Great, it's got to do
Yeah,
it.
and then you go, well, Thai food's not unhealthy.
No, but there's spices and things and stuff that
Yeah.
are gonna, not the best to just lie down and.
Yeah.
Um, but I went and got a sleep study years ago, and they said, "Oh, you have some sleep apnea. We recommend you using a CPAP machine."
Sure.
I never used it. I was never comfortable using it. I'd always rip it off, and I lost weight, and then I was fine, and I knew I was
Sure.
sleeping well, and 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 then it just got to a point now where I was like, gas. I would like literally wake up before I was going to bed. Like I couldn't fall asleep. I felt like I kept like gasping for air as soon as
Yeah.
my eyes would close. I wasn't sleeping well. Now I'm like getting tired in the daytime. I'll just be driving, not even on the highway. I'll just be driving to like, to like to a restaurant or the store, and I'm like, oh, I'm tired, and I'm like, okay, so I'm not sleeping well. I went and did
No.
this sleep study a week ago, and the most uncomfortable thing. I don't care. It's just
Yeah.
gross. It's 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 one step above like just sleeping in like a whorehouse or something. It's just
Yeah, yeah,
nothing
yeah. It's
taken
like
care.
everybody's what you
Nothing's.
got. Yeah, the bells and whistles and the fucking
Oh,
beeps.
it's
Yeah,
gross.
dude.
Yeah,
So
there's not even a
so what
headboard
did it
on the
tell
bed.
you?
There's no headboard on the bed. I was like, just get a headboard on there at least. Like we're just sleeping. Like, they hook up all the sensors to me. I pass out. She wakes me up 45 minutes in, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't need to see anymore. Like we've, I'm sure it might have been 30 minutes. She's like, we got it. Like in which you have to. I went into my doctor. I was like, I need a CPAP machine. She's like, you got to do a sleep study or else the
Yeah,
insurance will fuck around. All
of
right, I'll do it.
course.
So she wakes me up and she goes to put the mask on me. And this is what they do. They put the CPAP thing on and
Yeah,
they're like, we're going to see how this goes. And I said, I've never been able to sleep with one of these, whatever. And she goes, let me just tell you something right now. When you have obstructive, whatever they're
yeah,
calling
yeah,
it, as bad as you do right now, your body wants this. And I said,
yeah,
we'll see. Me like trying to be like, I know everything. She puts it on. I fall asleep. I do not wake up for straight 5.5 hours. I wake up and I feel like I have slept 12 hours, like in a
yeah,
good way. Not in I woke up and I was
yeah,
like, oh, it's 6 a.m. Like, that's what time they
yeah,
kick you out of 6 a.m. I go, wow. I take it out. I did not, that day, I had more energy
yeah,
than I've had in a year, like for the rest
yeah,
of the day. And I was like, fuck me. And I was like on the phone, I was like, get me in the machine like now.
yeah.
And it's all the same shit where I was like, I don't need this
Right,
shit. I'm gonna lose weight and
right.
this and that. And I was like, and I can't wait to get this machine now. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe this is
I,
my coming to.
I do think for me that I have to oftentimes just set aside what I think I know about a situation. You
Yeah.
know, like it's just like it's not ego driven to say, all right, I think I know this, but I'm going to set everything I think I know aside so that maybe I can have a different experience and make room
Yeah.
for new ideas,
Yeah.
you know, and especially like, look, man, like if you've like, I'm glad you had the positive experience that so that your brain's pleasure centers went, we want more of this sleep we've been hearing so
Oh
much
my God.
about.
I'm think it's been about 10 days or 8, 9 days. I'm getting the machine soon. I think about that day right now, like what a day that was. What a
What a fucking
I didn't do
legendary
much. I just
day
walked my
of giving
dog.
my
I did a
body
show.
oxygen.
I was like, oh, is that what it's like to sleep
Yeah.
restfully? Like,
Oh, dude. I mean, I had trouble sleeping for the longest time, and I would take like melatonin and shit like that. And then about 2 years ago, I started doing cold water plunges, ice baths, and I sleep like a fucking rock. Like
oh,
it
before you go
just,
to bed?
yeah. Like I would do it like 2 hours
Oh,
before I go to bed, and
oh wow. Oh, because it does
uh,
energize you a little bit initially, right? And then it like,
yeah, but it also, I mean, it releases, like the way I tell people about cold plunges or ice baths is like your brain's got its own pharmacy. And when you go into freezing water, it chucks the chemicals you need to lower your heart rate, reduce cortisol,
mm,
calming chemicals, And so 2 hours after you do this, like I don't wake up anymore. Like I pass out and I stay asleep. And like sometimes like I track it with my Apple Watch. I'll wake up a couple times, but it's just because of my orange dipshit cat. So it's
mm,
just like,
yeah.
that. But I went from sleeping maybe 5 hours a night just because of being a comic and eating late at night to over the last 6 months, I have 8 hours of sleep. And like getting yourself the amount of sleep that you need is such it's right there. And and once you realize it, you're like, I'm so dumb. I'm
Yeah.
so dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe my dog starts the night in bed with me. And then by the end of the night is in his crate, just sleeping. And
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm probably like,
Yeah.
it's like
Fucking poor Arnold.
talking in my sleep. Fuck
Uh,
you.
it's like
Um,
the dog
yeah.
needs a CPAP machine because your ass fucking can't.
He snores a little, but not bad. He's sleeping right now. I'm looking at him right there. So time of his life. Um, so yeah, okay, so 13 years. That's great, man. I don't drink. I'll have an occasional drink. It's like I've talked about it many times
Sure.
on the podcast, and it's never been. It's clear it's never been an issue for me and stuff. But I do think about these old alcoholics when I see them at at bars, just drunk, and they're in their 60s and 70s. I drank. I don't know. It was like 2 or 3 months ago. I drank enough to where I had a hangover,
Yeah.
and I I don't, like I said, I don't drink that much, and just that one hangover, I was like, I don't think I want to drink anymore.
Right.
Which is fine for me. I don't care. That's not something that really I crave or think about. But I was like, I'm just thinking about, man, if you're in your 60s or 70s, what the fuck is going on? Is this something that you just developed this intolerance to, or like, did you
Oh
have
yeah,
bad
dude.
hangovers? I mean, like the
Well, my rule was always the only way to avoid a hangover was to stay drunk. And so,
right,
like, if
heard that
you're a if
one.
you're a decades long drinker, they can't stop. Like it is as far as withdrawals go. Like, if you shoot heroin and become addicted, and you stop shooting heroin, you're gonna go through withdrawals that are awful, and they make you feel like you're gonna die, but you're not. Alcohol withdrawals or delirium tremens, the shakes, are lethal. So if you stop drinking, you start shaking. Your veins feel like they have prickly ice in them. And I know this because I drank myself to that point where I was going through withdrawals like that. And the only way I could avoid feeling like I had shooting electricity in my veins in the morning was to keep sipping on booze.
Yeah,
So like that, like people always clap like, oh, 13 years sober, that's a big deal. I'm like, no, how about the guy that drinking whiskey brand whiskey into his 70s? Like, I had to get out the game at 25. Like, it's like, fuck that. Like, that dude's been steady as she goes for decades. And I like, it is a lethal withdrawal,
yeah,
alcohol withdrawals. So much so that, like, one of my one of my former sponsors used to roll around with a sealed half pint of whiskey under his seat, because if he would pick up an alcoholic withdrawing from alcohol to take him to the hospital, he would have to drink so he didn't die in the car on the way over. Like, that's the old school sober dudes used to roll around with booze in the car, not for them, but if they had to pick up an alcoholic withdrawing just to save their lives. Because, some people just, quit cold turkey drinking and think they can just, white knuckle it, for lack of better terms. And it's like, if you do that, you can die from the withdrawal symptoms.
yeah. Justin Foster was on this podcast, and that was one of the
Good
things
friend.
he hammered home, because we were watching this video. It was like top 10 worst addictions,
Yeah.
I like I said, I'm not familiar with this stuff, and it said hallucinations with drinking. I go, hallucinations, and he was like, let me just tell you, he's like, if you are an everyday all the time drinker,
Yep.
he's like, you need to check in someplace to detox,
Yep.
otherwise
You
you will die.
can't just
Yeah,
stop.
yeah,
And look, I'm not saying people cannot detox on their own, but like, it's so dangerous that, like, even people before, like, there was this big medical community that had detox facilities, like, you would have to stage yourself down. Like,
hmm,
you would have to, like, so if you were drinking like a handle of whiskey a day, you can't just go from a handle to zero. Like, so you'd have to stage yourself down. And this is not
yeah,
me recommending to anybody that they detox on their own. It's just like, it's like anything, you have to gradually step down. And the crux of this whole conversation is, like, I don't know how to do things fucking gently. I'm either all in or I'm all out. Like, my hardest part for me is being fucking gentle to Dave. And I have to say that. It's like, I'm either like, oh, you got to go to the gym, you piece of shit. And it's like, no, I can just go to the gym when I feel like going to the gym and not beat myself up. I can rip cigs and be like, yeah, I know this is not great for me, but, like, I'll quit when I feel like quitting. And that I've found great success in just trusting that when I'm done, I'm done.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you're not comfortable talking about this, then just let me know. But addiction, you're sober. Okay, you're
Yep.
sober, and then something
And
tragic happens in your life, and
yeah,
both of
like
us
my
have
dad
had
dying.
yeah, yeah, and my mom passed away in 2019,
Yeah.
and your dad, I forget what year, but I know
Yep.
not
No,
um
2019. That's,
around,
I
yeah,
mean,
same time. Um, and you know, thankfully you maintain your sobriety through that. I did not maintain, like I did not stay clean through that after my
yep.
mom died. I I was I was an only child. I was raised just by my mom, and I
Yeah.
was received some money from when my mom passed away, and I gambled
Yeah.
away a lot of that money.
Yeah.
I did some stuff with the money to prevent myself from gambling the other stuff, but I did that, and so I, again, it goes back to the beginning of what we were talking about, blaming the situation you're in or something on it, or versus what's going on inside yourself. And in the end,
Right.
it's still me. My mom
Yeah.
dying was a horrific event in my life, but in
Yeah.
the
It's
end, it still
traumatic.
came down to me. Um,
Right.
you stayed sober though, so that's you know
Yeah.
was that
I
hard?
don't,
Was that
I mean, it wasn't, I mean, here's the thing, like I saw my father for the last time on this earth April 23rd of 2019. So my sobriety date is also coincides with the last time I physically saw him in person. And I was working the road when he got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I was working the road full time just to be around him more. And I remember it was my 7 year sober anniversary. I said, "Love you, Dad. I'll see you later." I kissed him on the forehead and I started driving away, crying. I stopped at a 12-step meeting in Joliet to pick up my coin. And I had some gigs in Colorado. And like by the time I got home, um, he had took a turn for the worst, and I talked to him. It was April 30th. Yeah, no, April 29th. Yeah, it was April 29th. I think it was the day. And it was on the phone, and it was like, "I love you, son, more than you'll ever know, and I don't want to go," and that shredded me, and I hung up the phone, made sure my brother got on a plane to go back and see him. And I hosted at the Hollywood, or not the Hollywood Improv, the Irvine Improv. I was hosting, and like I was like telling the jokes about him, and they didn't feel quite right.
mm,
And then I got off stage and was selling merch, hahahotsauce.com. And I got the call that he passed. And it shattered me. Like, and I told my buddy, and I drove to a meeting, and I just kept putting one foot in front of the other, man. Like, look, like I was sober 7 years, but like, it doesn't matter when you are in that amount of pain. Like you don't understand, like it's a pain that few people get to know early on in life. Like a lot of people, their parents, stay alive forever. And I'm being hyperbolic, but like, you'll be in your 60s or 70s, and then your parents are in their 90s, and it's like my dad died at 59, you know and so like it everybody says that's so young, and it is. But he lived a hard life. He was a union mechanic in the rail yards. He was a big social dude. Like, I mean, he was driving himself to the bar up the street to have beers with his buddies while he was dying of cancer. Like, and it took me some years to sit with the grief, because as soon as he passed, right afterwards my buddy got famous, and we were touring every weekend, every month. And so like I was a workaholic. So like it never really occurred to me to drink or use, because it's like my addiction was work and comedy. And like I was performing like my life depended on it, because it's like I couldn't afford to have a bad set mentally, you know? And then the pandemic shut everything down, and it was like I was driving a station wagon while my shit 100 miles an hour, and it hit a brick wall and it went everywhere, So like if it wasn't for the pandemic, who knows,
yeah,
you know? And I know it was bad and awful for a lot of people, but like it gave me permission to not quote unquote grind. And I was able to get therapy and fucking start, recovering from grief. And I do think that grief, like alcoholism, is something that you can recover from. So I know that was a long story, but like in order to
no,
understand why
good.
I didn't drink or use, you have to understand what it did to me. you know,
Yeah.
and the old man and I were cool, at the end. Like, he said, I'm not worried about you, which is like, as an alcoholic who caused a lot of suffering and pain, to hear a dying man's last words of, I'm not worried about you.
Mm.
It released me of that owing him an amends or anything, because I had made amends to him a long time ago, but you're the kid and you're like fucked up a lot, but like, yeah, he
Yeah.
let me know that he wasn't worried about me. And then in true uh dad fashion, he goes, take care of your mother, take care of your brother. If he doesn't listen to you, kick him in the dick.
Yeah. Nice.
Verbatim. And, like, this is, I tell people he legit said that to me in the last conversation we had. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, uh, grief is something that I believe most of society, American society, doesn't know how to do. We drink, or we pretend it doesn't exist. We do the funeral, we do the this and that, and then we go, well, time heals all wounds, or oh, it'll hurt like this forever. It's like, not like that wasn't okay for me. Like, I had to figure out a way to recover from the grief, and I couldn't really talk to anybody who didn't really have a parent who died. And that's probably why I reached out to you, or you to me, or whatever, because it's like, I know on some level that this experience, like, you can't talk to someone who's not a gambling addict about gambling addiction. Just like my mom could have a half a glass of plum wine, she'll never understand what it is to drink a gallon of whiskey and piss yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you have to talk to people who have the experience. And I was getting resentful towards old people. Like, I don't know if you felt this way, but I would be walking around and like, oh, fuck you, Steve, in the Vietnam hat. Like, you suck. Like, why do you get to be here and my dad doesn't? Like, it's grief will fuck with you, because it's like
Yeah.
all these chemicals in your brain. It's like withdrawing, like the love and the missing and the wishing you would have done this or that differently, or just your person's not there anymore. Like, my dad was my homie, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That I when my mom passed away, we had a break in the summer. I was writing on the Jim Jeffries show, and we had a break in this summer for a pretty good one. And
Yeah.
I was there the whole time, minus a week where I went to JFL. And she passed away 2 weeks after I came back from JFL. And so, other than just for laughs, whatever, if people are listening to it, it's a huge
Nobody
compliment
cares.
to all. Yeah.
I'm like, it's like, okay, I just was vulnerable,
Mom,
and
I know you're
Forrest was like,
dying, but yeah, I
I'm
gotta.
going to meet your vulnerability. I'm going to drop my credits.
No, people that are listening that don't know what that stands for is what I meant. I didn't mean like, but because the people, whatever. Edit this out. No,
Keep going. I'm just fucking with
no, I'm kidding. I'm not. And when she passed away, and then she lived down the Florida Keys, and I did all the things you got to do for
you. Yep.
to wrap it up, all the legal things, this and that, the
Yep.
house. I'm going to be leaving the house, but I was coming right back. But I had some gigs coming up, and I was like, should I do these or not? It was about a week and a half after she passed away with Jim Jeffries. It was in Boston and Cape Cod and those areas and stuff. And at the time, he had two openers, so it was me and him and Amos Gill.
Yep.
And he also, unbeknownst to me, invited Orlando Leyba, who he's friends with
Yeah.
too, to
Lando's great.
also open, because he thought that would be helpful, like supportive, which is
Yeah.
such a cool thing to do, And
Yeah.
I remember going to Boston, and once I landed and I was away from all of that shit, my body hurt, like
Yep.
physically hurt. Like,
Yep.
I mean, on a scale of 0 to 10, 8, 9. Like, I was
Hmm.
like, am I fucking dying? Like, I didn't even know what was wrong. Like, I'm like, am I
Yep.
dying? Like, what happened? I had to move my mom around. Did I pull a
Yep.
muscle or?
Yep.
And then I just started reading up on stuff, and it was just like you said with the grief and stuff. It's like my body released all whatever it was, releasing all these chemicals from all this stuff, and it was just like, oh, you're gonna feel this now.
Yep.
You're withdrawing from this
Yep.
whole thing, and
Yep.
it was brutal for like
Yeah.
2 weeks.
That's what I'm
And
saying. Like the thinking mind is a great servant, but a terrible master. Your mind was not letting you connect with your body somatically until the work was done.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I've never experienced anything like that. And yeah, so when you just said that right now, that triggered me to think about that. Oh shit, yeah, holy cow, that was
Yeah.
painful, and that was
Right.
the withdrawal of that. Yeah, so
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's like it's I tell people grief doesn't have to be um for just the people who have died. Like I think it's really hard to grieve the living too sometimes. Like when people go through massive breakups and then they get all this dog shit advice from people about like, oh, the quickest way to get over one is get under another, blah, or
yeah,
like, fuck that person. It's like it's withdrawals, and it's like if you look at a brain scan of someone experiencing a breakup or grief, the centers of your brain that are activated are the same as withdrawing from your drug of choice. It's because it's your your brain is a computer that tries to make sense of shit. And when you're in pain, physical pain, like you were just describing, and your brain, your eyes cannot see like a cut or a broken finger or a bruise to make sense of the pain, there's a disjunction
yeah,
between the two. And it feels like your head's full of bees, you know? And that's, like I had experienced so many losses in rapid succession. My father got cancer in 2019. My first sponsor committed suicide in the same month. My buddy died in a drunk driving accident on Christmas of 2019. Like these were rapid succession things. And so like when the pandemic hit, it was like, oh, an invisible force is taking everything you love and care about. Welcome to my world,
yeah.
everyone.
I,
So
I can hear that you're emotional, and I was just smiling when you did that. I just want you to know what happened when you said my father died and my buddy committed
the
suicide.
thumbs up thing.
The thumbs up came, the stupid thumbs up emoji came up on your camera.
Yeah, I was counting with my
You're
fingers.
saying these horrific, tragic, and it's
Yeah,
like woo, and I was like, oh my
yeah, yeah. My
god.
sponsor blew his brains out.
Let's get some hearts going. There he goes. There, oh
Yeah,
god.
yeah,
Um.
dude.
All
Losing
right.
people's
Well,
traumatic. That's what it
yeah.
boils down to, man.
Well, look, we're gonna wrap this up, but
on that note,
well, no, I don't like the podcast. I mean, we're at 54 minutes already and
that's
stuff, and
fine.
but I would love to have you on again.
Yeah,
This is
dude,
not a one
you're
and
my
done type
buddy.
podcast, so we can talk about other stuff another time. But what would you say to anybody that's out there struggling right now? Like.
That you're exactly where you're supposed to be, whether you like it or not. Is everything in this moment is exactly the way it should be. You might not like it, but if you're listening to this and you're struggling, just know it's possible. You can recover. If I could do it, if Forrest can do it, if anybody you've heard on this podcast can do it, you can too. It's just if you could do it on your own, you would have done it by now.
Yeah.
And that's a very brave thing to do, is to wave the white flag and ask someone for help.
Fine, I'll do Ozempic. Okay. All right, go follow Dave go to his website, hahahotsauce.com. You can find the links to everything on there. Instagram, YouTube. We don't mention the other platforms. Unless you want
Yep.
me to, but
No, I'm Yates comedy on everything. So you
yeah.
type that in your fucking Poison Factory device, you'll find my shit.
Yeah, get some hot sauce, put it on your asshole, whatever you want to do. It's up to
Yeah,
you.
or your mouth,
Yeah. Whatever you want to do. Thanks for being here, Dave.
Yeah, I love you, buddy. Good to see you.
Thanks again to Dave Yates for being here or being on the podcast, and really enjoyed talking to him. And we did a lot of talk about taking drugs to prevent addictions or to curb addictions. I didn't know we were going to talk about that much. I did want to bring it up, but it's interesting. I'm going to have a think on Ozempic because I know it will help. especially with the weight loss and stuff. But we'll see. I'm gonna do a little investigations, see what's going on. Get back to you on that one. Maybe at least just for the weight loss. But I'm just worried because then I feel like if I stop, it's just gonna. I'm just gonna get fat again because I'm just gonna have all those cravings come flooding back. But we'll see. I think the next episode I might do by myself and just talk a lot about where I'm at with my addiction and myself. We'll see how that. I'm gonna do a practice one. Not a practice. I'm gonna do one, and if it's good, I'll release it. If it's not shit, I'll just do another one with a guest. We'll see. Do I need to tell you guys this? Probably not. Probably edit this part out. Everybody out there, if you are feeling really shitty and down and you think you might harm yourself, there is help for you out there. Suicide and crisis hotlines, dial 988 in Canada and the United States, United Kingdom 0800-689-5652, Australia Lifeline 131114, Finland 09-2525-0111, Germany 030-44-010607. Jesus, Germany, shorten that one. It's the worst. There's a Wikipedia page list of suicide crisis lines as a list of crisis and helplines by country. Show phone number 305-563-7264. That's 305-JOE-RANG +1 country code. Thank you guys again for listening. I will talk to you guys next week. Love you all.